Breathing out. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's all about being clear. It's all about being clear. People come up to me and they say, Barbara, how am I going to get my life together? It's all about being clear. Barbara, how can I create more money in my life? It's all about being clear. Barbara, how can I get out of this relationship and get into another relationship? It's all about being clear. Barbara, they say that my body has X, Y, Z. What am I going to do? It's all about being clear. It's all about being clear. You can take everything back to being clear. When you are clear, there's nothing that you cannot do. Because when you are clear, you are directing the law of the universe in such a precise way that your creation comes into form magnificently. But when you're not clear, that's a whole different story. And what is that idea of clarity? You know, it's not dim. Don't be a dim-wit. Be a clear-wit. Don't be dim. Jesus said, take the bushel basket off of your light and shine brightly. Don't be dim. Because when you're clear, you are crystal clear. You're clear like a clear stream. You're transparent. That means that you're not hiding anything. You're not trying to play games or be out of integrity by saying one thing and meaning another. You're transparent because you know who you are. It's funny, people who want to hide who they are feel like something is not okay with them being who they are. It's not that we want to turn into someone else. We just want to be who we are. One of my favorite quotes from Carl Jung was that who you are is good enough, Carl Rogers, who you are is good enough if you would only be it openly. Be transparent about who you are, about what you want, about where you're going in life. It's about being perfect and unblemished, as if you're free from any defect or impurity. You're already perfect. You are perfect, whole, and complete, and if anybody ever told you differently, they are wrong, wrong, wrong. In the world of right and wrong, they're wrong, wrong, wrong. You're already perfect because you're created out of a perfect essence of the divine. It's about being distinct, as in having clear outlines. Do you have clear outlines or are you fuzzy? Are you really not here? Are you really not who you are? Do you have clear outlines? It's about being completely certain, allowing for no doubt, as in clear evidence. Are you completely certain about who you are, about God in form as you? It's about being unambiguous, easy to understand, as in clear instructions. Are you easy to understand? Whenever I speak, I try to speak so that a child can understand me, so that it can be something that you don't have to grapple with. I don't want to go into any big intellectual discussion. I want to be able to get it. I want to be able to get it quickly because I've got things to do in life. I want to get it and go. Are you without guilt? Free from feelings of guilt or blame, as in a clear conscience? Or not attached? Must be clear of all moving parts? Are you free from what dims? Transparent, perfect and unblemished, distinct, completely certain, unambiguous, without guilt, and not attached. When you are those things, you are clear, and it's all about being clear. Ernest says healing is clear thinking. How does that work? Well, my gosh, if you are at that level of clarity, if you know who you are, if you're clear, if you have solid outlines, if you are unambiguous, if you are without attachments, free from guilt, clear about who you are, of course that thinking heals. Because what it does is it brings the outer circumstances back into alignment with who you already are. There is no process of healing. There's no, okay, now I'm sick and I'm going to get healed. You are already healed. You are already whole. You are already complete. And it is our energy of alignment with that already state of health and wholeness that reveals that into our lives. Whether it's in our checkbook, whether it's in our job, whether it's in our car or our home or our physical body, it matters not. That state of clarity of who we are and how we bring ourselves into the world brings forth the state of health and wholeness that is already ours. That's why some of people think we're crazy. Because we look at an experience and we go, you're not true. You're not true, and I'm not going to accept that in my life. I'm going to turn away from the condition. I'm going to turn toward the truth. The truth is that God is all that there is, that each of us is a perfect manifestation of the divine right here and right now. And so is everybody else in our life. Now that takes a little time. Because our clarity has to reflect on everything around us. Do you know that the way that you see other people in your world is the way that you see yourself? That you cannot see it in your world unless you have it first within yourself? So think about it. Check out the people in your world. What do you think about them? Are you clear about who you are and who they are? Perfect expressions of the divine on their own path, I'll give you, but still in their perfect and right place. Powerful, creative, spiritual beings. Sometimes people come up to me with problems and I go, wow, you are so powerful. Boy, you are created out of love and you feel upset. You are so powerful. You live in an infinitely abundant universe and you have managed to keep yourself broke. Wow. The amazing power you wield. You were born to heal and still your body has that. It's fascinating. And if we can take that and get the dimness out of it, sharpen up the edges, take the ambiguity out of it, if we can focus that thought into a more productive, lifting, expanding, life-giving train of thought, then we can completely turn situations around. And so it doesn't matter if they think you're a little crazy. I had an interesting week. I rarely talk about John when he's not here, but I will. John came home from, I guess he was in Denver a week ago. And he came home from Denver and he said he had some kind of burning on his face, and we figured he had touched poison oak or poison sumac, since he's not allergic to poison ivy, and gotten something on him. The home office in Denver, everybody can bring their dogs, so he says there's dogs everywhere, and he pets the dogs and all of that, and he had some kind of a rash come on his face, and then his face kind of started swelling up, and then we took the allopathic track and made an appointment with a doctor, and the doctor said, oh my gosh, you have shingles. Oh. No. Whole and complete. I know that side of your face is the exact same size as the other side. It's funny when you're the practitioner and the spouse. And so that happened on, I think, Tuesday, and truly the swelling went down and everything's going away. And Tony came into the office. Tony came back, thank you. And Tony came up into the office and said, hey, how are you doing? And John said, well, I have a slight case of shingles. And she said, no, you don't. And stop saying that. And I looked at John and I said, you're a good teacher when your students start correcting you. Because when we're clear, when we have clear thought, that brings us back into alignment with our health and wholeness, period, end of story. And so what dims us is buying into the illusion. And actually, John, as he got on the plane yesterday to go to Chicago, his face was fine. What dims us is buying into the illusion, that which says you're not powerful, you're not a being of light and love, you're not God in form as you. There's something missing, something broken, something lacking inside of you. And you can just see that little light get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer until we wake up and shine brightly again. We don't even have to go get a spark. We don't even have to go, build up our fire. We've got all this light coming out of us. All we need to do is stop buying into that which is different from our true nature. And when we do that, everything changes. Ernest said, nothing is real unless you make it real. Nothing can touch you unless you allow it to touch you. Refuse to have the feelings hurt. Refuse to accept anyone's condemnation. In the independence of your own mentality, know that you are wonderful. This is not conceit. This is the truth. So it's up to us to refuse to take that on, to refuse to buy into it, to refuse to give our power over to that which we think is outside of us, instead of seeing that what appears to be outside of us is simply a reflection of whatever is going on within us. It's not on the outside just by happenstance. It's not a fluke that this thing is in our lives. It's there for a reason. And when we can see it clearly, then we know that we are the point of creation. We are cause to the effects of our lives. And then we can do anything we want with it. But sometimes it takes a big shift of awareness. Sometimes people come into my office with these problems and I go, really? You really didn't see this coming? You really couldn't have thought a little bit down the road and expected this? This caught you by surprise? And yet I know that when we're busy being dim, things do catch us by surprise and we don't look down the road. We don't have all of the facts of what's happening because we're not being clear. Once we're clear, everything changes. There's a story in Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. These are actual transcripts from a U.S. naval ship with Canadian authorities off the coast of Newfoundland in October of 1995. This radio conversation was released by the Chief of Naval Operations on October 10th, 1995. Americans, please divert your course 15 degrees to the north to avoid a collision. Canadians, recommend you divert your course 15 degrees to the south to avoid a collision. Americans, this is the captain of a U.S. Navy ship. I say again, divert your course. Canadians, no. I say again, you divert your course. Americans, this is the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, the second largest ship in the United States Atlantic Fleet. We are accompanied by 3 destroyers, 3 cruisers, and numerous support vessels. I demand that you change your course 15 degrees to the north. That's 15 degrees north, or countermeasures will be undertaken to ensure the safety of this ship. Canadians, okay. This is a lighthouse. Did you ever get so caught up in the fight that you couldn't see clearly what was really happening? It's like when people are fired. Oh, I got fired. Yay! That which is yours can never be taken from you, and that which is not yours you cannot keep. They helped you move on down the road. You were done with this. The only way you would get out of that job that you no longer wanted was to get fired. You could have left easily earlier, but no, you had to wait and get fired. Great, finally we can move on. Same thing with, oh, they left me. They did for you what you did not have the courage to do for yourself. Breathe. They did for you what you did not have the courage to do for yourself. Now you look back on those experiences and you go, yeah, I'm so glad I got fired. I'm so glad they left me. I'm so glad I was free to move forward in my life. I'm so much clearer now. And I can see all of the pieces that come together. It's all about being clear. It's all about being able to see the whole picture instead of just that little point. What so many of us do is we react instead of create. This is my mantra for the last few years. I will not react. I know it's a denial. I'm sorry about that. I will not react. I will not react. I'm not going to react. I'm just going to breathe. If I was supposed to know what to do at this moment, I would know it, and I don't know what to do, which is part of my reaction. So I'm just not going to do anything. I'm just going to breathe. I love the native tradition. If you go to a native person and you make a request, they take 4 days. They take 4 days because they want to really be clear about what's going on. They don't want to be caught up in the moment. They want to be able to have the whole picture. So they take 4 days. When we react, we are not clear. So stop and do nothing is better than react. We're not puppets on the string that get jerked around by whatever's going on outside of us. When we act that way, we get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer because we think that there's an outside power that's going to decide who we are and what we get to have in our life. It's better to just stop and breathe and remember the truth, which is that God is all that there is. And if God is all that there is, then what I am is an individualization, a manifestation, a point of the divine, whether I'm getting the whole picture right now or not. That's got to be the only truth. And if that's true, then this experience that's happening to me is also an individualization, a manifestation of the divine in form. And I'm going to sit with it until I can start getting that experience. Because granted, if you've just pulled yourself back from reacting, then chances are you're just thinking it and you haven't quite embraced it fully with all of your being. So just sit there until you're clear. Don't do anything until you're clear. Has anybody ever tried to sell you something and, oh, you've got to get it in the next 10 minutes? No, I don't. No, I don't. If it's mine, it will be there. If it's not mine, I don't have to worry about it because I won't be able to keep it anyway. If it's mine, it will be there. I can relax into this experience called life. I can bring it all back to who I am. I can remember the truth. And then whatever action that I take in moving forward will be an action where I see the whole picture, where I'm not fighting with a lighthouse, where I can chart my course, knowing where I want to go, deciding what to make real and what not to make real, deciding that I am magnificent because I am God in form and so are you. When I am clear, I can decide to live my life in whatever way I want. And then the same way that they take the bumps, the vibrations out of a light beam and turn it into a laser, I can do whatever I want. I can cut through steel or I can peel the eggshell off of a raw egg. I have that level of clarity and that level of direction, that level of control over my life, because I first have control over myself. To not react, to not be a puppet on a string, to remember the truth of who I am and who you are and who we are. And to sit with that until I have enough clarity to make a choice, to set an intention, to move forward. Doesn't matter whether it's a physical issue, doesn't matter whether it's a financial issue, doesn't matter whether it's a relationship issue, doesn't matter whether it's a leaky faucet in your house, it doesn't matter. It is all the same thing. If you want your life to work, every moment of every day, if you want to experience life as the God being that you have always been, it's all about being clear. And so it is.